My name is Scarlett Curtis. I'm a writer, activist, and proud feminist and curator of this book. I run a feminist collective called The Pink Protest, and we work throughout the year to campaign on feminist issues and try and change laws in the UK. So far, we've been part of campaigns to change 2 laws on feminism in the UK, including one law which got free menstrual products into every primary school and secondary school in Britain, which was something I was very proud of. Very cool. You don't need to clap for everything. I'm not Michelle Obama, and I feel very weird that she was the person that did this before us. Okay, put your hand up if you're a feminist. That's not bad, and there's quite a lot of boys. Very, very good. So I didn't know I was a feminist till I was 15, and I think most of you are older than that, so you're a bit behind me, but it's fine. I didn't know I was a feminist because I didn't know that I needed to be one, and I also didn't think I'd be allowed to wear makeup if I became one, and as you can see by my fake eyelashes, I really love makeup. I went to school just like my brothers. My mum had a job just like my dad. Feminism was something that I learned about in history classes and that I felt like I didn't really have to worry about anymore. Much like a rare breed of bird, I knew feminists still existed out there in the wild, but I also knew that I most definitely did not want to be one. For starters, it was the middle of the noughties, and in a world where Beyoncé existed, I couldn't fathom what on earth these feminists were fighting for. More importantly, my image of a feminist was entirely in opposition to every single priority that my 15-year-old brain possessed. Feminists didn't use makeup, which was my favourite hobby. They didn't shave their legs, which was my favourite form of exercise. They didn't like boys, which were my favourite type of human. And most importantly, they didn't wear pink, and pink was my favourite colour, as you can see by my trainers. Being a feminist would mean disposing of half my wardrobe, revealing my spotty skin and hairy legs to the world, and putting the end to the 20 daily MSN messages I sent to boys I had crushes on. So I most definitely wasn't going to be one. There's an amazing feminist called Audre Lorde who said, "Our feelings are our most genuine path to knowledge." Who said, "Our feelings are our most genuine path to knowledge," and maybe Norwich. My nosedive into feminism was fueled entirely by feelings. In the years since, it's developed and grown into something wordier and filled with thoughts and books and quotes, but at the beginning, my feminism was just a feeling, and that's something I really want to encourage to everyone in this room, girls and boys, that this isn't something that's academic or scary or about, learning stats. It's about something that's to do with emotions. When I was 14, I actually left school. I was misdiagnosed with an illness, I was in a lot of pain, and I was treated very badly by a group of men and a few women who I think would have treated me differently if I'd been a man. I was a teenage girl with dip-dyed blue hair, and I used to wear tutus to hospital appointments. I was very ill, and I was mistreated for much longer than even an irritating teenager deserves to be. I was silenced for a number of reasons that only now, nearly a decade on, I'm finally beginning to unpick. And I think it happened because I was young. I think it happened because I was emotionally complicated, but it also happened because I was a girl and because the person sitting next to me whenever I went to the doctors or whenever I went to hospital appointments was my mum. In the grand scheme of heinous acts committed by the patriarchy, what happened to me was very small. But it did happen, and it sparked a feeling inside of me that began to grow. My illness also meant that I spent 3 years of my life not in school, but in my bedroom with nothing much to do except read. So I began to read. I read Virginia Woolf and Gloria Steinem and Caitlin Moran, and I began to understand that what had happened to me wasn't just something that had happened to me. It took place in a collective movement of pain and people fighting to change that. I began to understand that gender equality was not, in fact, a thing of the past, but a far-off dream of the future, a dream that generations of women and men had been fighting for and continued to fight for every single day. Once I began to understand that, I also began to understand that the assumptions that I'd held about what it meant to be a feminist were also, in fact, a tool of the very system of hate that these women were trying to smash. The system of hate, which is also known as the patriarchy, which I think can sometimes be quite a hard word. I've been talking to a lot of boys about this recently because we hear the word patriarchy and we think that means men. But it doesn't. I think all that the patriarchy means is power, and that power can be perpetuated by women, can be perpetuated by men. It can hurt women, but it can also hurt men. The patriarchy had concocted an image of feminists precisely so that young women would be deterred from joining them, and so that young men would be deterred from joining them. The lies we've been told about feminism have been fed to hold us back from a movement that is actually for everyone. It's a movement that's more beautiful and more potentially powerful than we could ever have dreamed. I think so often when we talk about feminism, we talk about struggle and pain, and obviously that's a huge part of the fight towards gender equality. But the reason I'm a feminist and the reason I fight so hard to spread the feminist message is because in my life, nothing has brought me as deep a joy as feminism has. I spent a lot of my childhood in pain, in a wheelchair, very mentally ill, very isolated from the people around me, and finding feminism made me want to get better so I could be a part of this movement that was all about joining together with all the other people on this planet to make our world a better place for women and men. Feminism gave me confidence, it gave me my friends, it gave me a community. In a way, I like to say feminism is my form of self-help, and it has nothing really to do with the self. I don't actually believe human beings are as selfish as we like to make out. We do a lot of selfish things, but we also do a lot of amazing, seriously non-selfish things. We join movements that are advocating for the rights of others, we sign petitions, we stand on picket lines, and we meet in the living rooms and basements of each other's houses or in schoolrooms and come up with plans to change the law and change the world. This is what I discovered through feminism, and this is why I'm so desperate to make everyone in the world a feminist.